All right, what's happening, everyone? Just going to walk through a bit of a market outlook for the day. I will start with GU. Now, given that there is news all day today, it is Monday. There's news for London and news for New York. I won't be trading, especially with what's happened on the weekend in terms of Trump and the bombings and all of those things. So I'm expecting the market to have bigger moves today. At least it's too volatile to get in on that lower time frame. So I'll be sitting out, letting the markets do their thing and then coming back tomorrow, but a little bit of an outlook into the week. So GU has major induced and then medium induced. So taking major liquidity, taking medium liquidity, and then fallen off a cliff. So with that fall off a cliff, it has broken, and a little bit of indication that this could be selling structure, as in terms it can be bearish structure and we could be heading lower, but it's very, very up in arms at the moment and we're not too sure. So take a major liquidity to the downside. Now we need to see what structure wants to do. So straight down to the 15 minute, I don't really need to jump around on the hourly. We've had a really, really good build up of liquidity and good build up of structure, and we've definitely shown that we can now use buys and sells. So major take of liquidity. We've then had a 15-minute break with indication that this is a break of structure through some internal structure, and now we've pushed up and done the same thing to the upside. So I'm more or less working bullish in this internal range and then external in this external range here to here. Okay, and all I'm going to do in between these two ranges is kind of just buy to sell. Okay, obviously, like I said, news is coming out, so we can't do much, but we're in a really good spot. So I don't expect this point to hold. Now there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's not a very good supply point. Two, it's going up against major liquidity. And three, the structure it's built here, we've induced a lot of sellers into the market here, especially around this area here. So what I'm kind of expecting now that we've induced low is kind of a push and mitigation into this area, or even just a push and bounce up straight away, pushing into this area here. So this is where we can kind of start to ping pong price. Like I said, news is coming out today, but this is what I'm kind of expecting. This area of supply needs to have liquidity built into it. You could kind of get something like this here, where you look to sell off of the take of that, or what you'll get is more or less more sell side structure building here, where we can look to take that, sorry, buy side structure, where we can look to take that. So that's kind of the two options. I'm looking for this to generate liquidity either way, to buy through it, to take this weak high, take this bit of liquidity, then we can look to sell. Okay, now if price wants to keep selling, it can sell from this area, but I need liquidity and an inducement into this area to continue lower, building up liquidity to the downside in both areas here. So really, really good spot. We're 50-50 in the market, but we're working in between a bearish and a bullish structure cycle at the moment, which means we can buy to sell, okay? Which is exactly what I want for how I trade. Just obviously coming into this session, we've got that news. So all we're going to find out is if we break this low, we're in a bearish structure, and we can look to continue to sell, and sells will be a high probability. If price wants to push and break this high here, we've now got bullish structure inside bearish structure, and we can look to buy to sell to areas of supply. Okay, and we can kind of ping pong price up and down and kind of, see where price wants to go long term. Taking this structure here and pushing up and showing bullish intent in between this area here, I would say that this liquidity is the cause to effect to come take this high. So if price wants to push up higher in here, I will be looking more for buys, okay? But can use both sides of the market, okay? Now, EU is basically the same situation. If you jump on the 4-hourly, we've had that major inducement and now we've started to sell off, okay? Given that sell-off, we're reacting out of the middle of no man's land at the moment. We've come into just an area of imbalance, which kind of can be looked at two ways. So the divergence with GU can be that this area won't hold, which means GU won't hold, or the inducement on GU is going to control the movement of the market, which means EU is actually going to go as well. So they're the two things we're kind of looking for. And our aim as traders is to find out which one is the most likely as soon as possible, to then kind of use that in our favor to find a directional bias for the week. Straight down to the 15-minute, much the same structure. We're working in a bearish leg here inside bullish structure. Very, very slow move up, very quick moves to the downside, is showing that this is more or less a complex pullback, and we're going to continue to sell. Now, EU I actually like a lot more, simply because one, we're in that area here. I believe we're going lower at least to this hour point, and two, we've actually given me a 15-minute entry model already. So we've got break and retest built up here, and now it's building up liquidity to the downside. All I'm looking for an inducement of this is high here to come and sell down to this. Now, just like GU, we've built up this internal structure here. We've come down to demand, taken 15-minute structure, built in weak structure. Because this didn't break this external low, this is now weak. So if for some of you, if you're trying to work out if a point is a trap or not, a point is a trap when it doesn't actually lead to breaks of structure, when it doesn't lead to inducements. Okay, this hasn't led to an inducement of this low. It hasn't led to a break, which means this is more than likely trying to build up internal liquidity. As you can see, my momentum is actually to the upside internally here. We're acting out of an area of just imbalance. These things kind of add together. We've had an internal break here, not an external break, and we're respecting bullish structure, which means this is more than likely a trap of some sort to get sellers in. So all I'm looking for is a confirmation of that trap, take a low, induce something to the downside, bring in more sellers, and then you can look to buy up here. So once we kind of push up past this point, you've got sells off a really good supply area, medium inducement into mitigation. If price wants to keep pushing, we're then working with both sides of the market again, heading towards this point up here, but more than likely coming to take this because G will kind of push up as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking for coming into this week. This week will tell us whether we're actually going bearish, more of a long-term outlook than anything. But we've got really good structure for the week. Ping-pong the price. We'll just see if news can kind of hold off in for this week. So tomorrow I will chuck in the Telegram, in the free Telegram, I'll put in my charts and what I'm looking at. And I won't be live trading with the VIP group today either. So VIP trading and live trading comes tomorrow. Until then, do some back testing. Watch the markets. Not good trading conditions today. Know when to stay out of the market, and we'll kind of go from there. So let's have a good week. Any questions, jump them in the comments below, and we'll go from there.